What's going on, gentlemen? Sorry about that last story. This is part two. Yeah, after I looked at the kid that was responsible for putting the dog in, he was a teenager. He's probably about 16, 17. After I gave him this look, man, he just saw that I wasn't afraid, and I think he just had the instinct like, yo, I better put this dog away before something bad happens to my dog. And basically, that's what he did. He put the dog uh, in the um, in the basement, and he called. He taught his mom is yelling at him and stuff like that. But honestly, his mom didn't care. She hated my guts. But also, let me give you some more stories about my 80/40. What happened? One time, I had a neighbor that was a pure a hole. When I was living in a suburban town in PA, right? And he couldn't stand me for some reason. Honestly, I think it was because I was black. He was actually a Russian dude. And I'm the type of person I say hello to everybody. I don't mind knowing your name. I don't mind you knowing my name. You're my neighbor. That's what I look at. That's how I was raised. But this, for some reason, this guy always gave me a hard time. And when I was married, he even was nasty to my ex-wife, right? So, but one morning I was heading to work, and it was real early because I used to get it down into Philly, um, and had to be at the clinic at 7 o'clock because I used to see my clients early. They actually opened up the clinic early for me because I had a lot of city workers, city of Philadelphia workers that used to come see me at the clinic. So of course, naturally, I'm riding out the house with my Mini Cougar, and it's early in the morning. I'm looking both ways before I walk to my car and everything. But this Joker, I don't know where he was, but he snuck up on me. I actually think he came out his house and he ran up behind me, and he made a loud noise trying to scare me. And and it's funny. I turned around. I'm from the hood. You don't play like that with people from the hood, especially early in the morning where it's dark. Y'all know them days where like the sun is just about to come up, right? So he didn't realize that when I turned with my left leg out, right? And my hand popped automatically onto my Mini Cougar, and the gun was halfway out of the holster, and my left hand was pointed out at him. In other words, I was waiting for him to actually bum rush me, or who I didn't know who it was, to actually bum rush me, because that's what you do. If somebody's up behind you, man, you throw that left hand out hard. You stiff arm 'em. Like if you ever play football, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You stiff arm him, right? So he saw me do that, and he didn't see the gun. He didn't see me grab my gun. But I was like, oh, okay. I was like, when I saw his face, I was like, good morning. He kind of like was, oh, yeah, good morning. Because he could tell that, something was about to go down hard. So he walked to his car, and I walked to my car, and that was it. And then one time, I don't know what's up with Russians. I think they think they're tougher than anybody in the world. I think that's how they were raised. You could tell by like Vladimir Putin the way he is. But one day I went home and I parked on the street from work, and I usually do all my paperwork. When I do take on mobile cases, I do all my paperwork in the car. I don't like taking work home, right? So I was parked outside of my house, right? And but his Russian family, these two dudes, and I knew they trained in martial arts because a couple times I caught them wearing their gis or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. They train in martial arts. That's a cool thing, I'm like, wow, that's cool. Martial artists always intrigue me. Well, not the artist, but the art itself. I grew up on kung fu movies in the '70s, so of course that's an interesting thing. But I've never been afraid of martial artists. I've actually had to throw martial artists out of clubs because you guys know I bounce clubs. So I was never afraid, and I never lost to a martial artist, so I wasn't worried about it. Because I give you the bum rush, and back then I would give somebody the bum rush, and that was it. They couldn't handle because of my size and strength and speed, right? So basically, One day I'm sitting out in my truck. I had a Ford Expedition at that time, right? And I miss that truck to this day. But anyway, um, I'm sitting out and I'm doing my paperwork, and these cats is outside of that car right in front of me, just staring at me, like I'm like the Mona Lisa or something like that, in the Art Louvre or something like that. They just staring at me, and when I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm doing my paperwork, mind my business, like, yo, don't these dudes see how big I am? That's the first thing came in my head. But I said, you know something? Them Russian guys think they real tough. So I said, okay. So what I did, brothers and sisters, what I did was I took off my seatbelt because I still had it on because I just came off the highway, right, 95 North, right, and I pulled my Beretta Mini Cougar out my holster. Now they couldn't see the gun, but they could see the motion that I made grabbing my gun. I was like, yo, if y'all really want to see what a black man is and what he's capable of doing, somebody that grew up in the inner city for like, lived in the inner city for 30 years, if you actually think you're from Russia and you're going to come to America and scare me, you got to be out your cotton picking mind. You got to be out your borscht eating, uh, communist feeding, self, your mind. You got to be crazy. Because if I can survive all the things that I survived in my life, you best not come in my face and try to, take me out. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw a video on Facebook yesterday. And this video on Facebook, it was this, unfortunately in Louisiana, I believe it's Louisiana, it was a road rage incident, right? And it was this black guy that pulled an AR-15 out on this big white dude. Now I was like, yo, that's a punk move because the black dude was actually a decent size. He looked like he was about 6'4", 6'5", and the white dude was tall. He's about, I don't know, probably 5'10", 5'11", but he was heavy. But the white guy wasn't afraid of him, and I was like, I put it on my post, and I said, you know something, that's exactly how I was. If you pulled a gun on me back in the day before I start carrying a gun, I bum rush you. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you never test nobody. You never do anything like that because you don't know who they are. Them dudes didn't know who I was. They didn't know I bounced clubs. Yeah, they probably overconfident because they know some martial arts, but they didn't know I was sitting in the truck with a 40 caliber on my hip with an extra magazine. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, because I worked in a clinic in North Philly, or I worked my area that I serviced was North Philly, is the Badlands. So sometimes I'd have two guns on me. You know what I'm saying? Just in case they got the drop on me. You know what I'm saying? Just in case one of my clients who was on drugs had their druggy boyfriend jump me when I got in the house. Or they gave me a bottle of water with some drugs in it, and I passed out, and they got my big gun, but they didn't see the second gun. You know what I'm saying? That's how I think, because I've been through so much, you know what I'm saying? So I had that mindset. You know what I'm saying? But these people from another country, yeah, they could be Russian mafia, they could have been anything, but they had no clue who they was coming up against, and they was poking the bear. I don't like dudes that poke the bear, and they only those two dudes were only poking the bear because there was two of them, and it was one of me, right? And they're martial artists, so they figured they'd do some tag team dojo stuff on me. And when in actuality, what would happen was I'd have shot one, and the other one would have ran. Because that's what happens. It's not you shoot one and the other one keeps attacking you. No, as soon as they come out and they hear that crack, boom, the other one's gonna run. You know what I'm saying? And Pennsylvania is a stand your ground state. So technically, I would have been justified. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that day when I was in that house and they try to get that dog to come up on me. Yeah, I punked them out. I punked the dog out because the dog saw the look on my face. The dog didn't try to come at me. He just stood there barking like mean and everything like that. And the little kid, the owner, he saw how serious I was about the dog. The dog wasn't coming forward, right? and the mama was sitting in the corner like, oh, stop that, put the dog back, trying to play it off like they was going to really sick that dog on me. I'd have let that little dog up. I'd have let that up. And guess what? I carried limited liability insurance, $5 million per year. As a therapist, they would just have to sue me for all the psychological trauma that I caused that family. You feel me? So yeah, I apologize for not finishing that story. I could have swore I said the ending, but hey, I was getting sleepy. So here's a part two. You guys get an extra treat tonight. All right, now, peace. God bless.